I was at PepsiCo for a decade. At the time I was leaving PepsiCo, I was the head of music and entertainment marketing. I had negotiated with NFL for a Super Bowl halftime show. I put Beyonce on the stage. I had Bruno Mars next, Katy Perry after that, Lady Gaga after that. And I was leaving because I had suffered a great personal loss in that my husband had died from cancer. And I had a 4-year-old daughter. We were living in New York, and I simply could not be in the city anymore. You know, I needed something else, something totally different to change not just my outlook on life, but to give me something else to live for. And you can imagine that after 10 years at PepsiCo and deciding to leave, people were like, no, don't do it, you know? My husband had been dead for 4 months when I resigned and moved across the country from New York to Los Angeles to start working for Jimmy Iovine and Dr. Dre. And everyone thought I had lost my mind. You know? They were like, now why in the hell would you do that? But the truth of the matter is that I needed to do it for myself, that people didn't understand what I was dealing with, and they thought that the answer was in hiding and laying down. And I don't fault anybody for wanting to do that when you suffer a loss like that. But for me, I knew that if I laid down, I would never get back up. And so I had to go. And 3 months after I joined Beats, I was sitting in the office in Cupertino with Tim Cook, and we were talking about the acquisition of Beats. And 2 months after that, Tim said, well, you know, you should actually just run iTunes and Apple Music. And I was like, oh shit. But the truth of the matter is that there were many people at that specific moment in time. They didn't advise me not to go because they didn't want the best for me. They advised me not to go because they were scared and they were concerned for me. And they said, you know, it's like, look, you've had a decade-long career here, you should stay, don't risk it, you know, just, how about you just sit down? Give it a year, you know, but if I give it a year, I wouldn't have had the opportunity that I had at Apple. And so, for me, like, the pivot is never about sitting still and letting somebody else advise. How would they know? They've never lived your life. They're not in your shoes. And by the way, I'm not even talking like the haters. No, haters be damned. I'm talking about the people who love you, who care for you, your mentors, you know? And the thing is, if all of us tapped in more to what we truly desire and what we know is true, like what you really know is true, and followed it, you would be happier in your life and also more successful. I promise you.